In this video we're just going to implement the first approach. Yeah, so now we'll learn how to implement the Singleton Design Pattern for a class. So we'll go with the first approach. So our first approach is to implement the Singleton Design Pattern using static keyword. Okay, so I have created a class A. Okay, so which is under so in the default package I have created a.java file, and under this I have created class A. Okay, and I'm going to implement the Singleton Design Pattern for this class. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So I'm declaring a private variable. Okay, so this private variable is a1 of type A. Okay, so this is the first step. So I'm creating a private variable, and it should not be a normal private variable. It should have the static keyword. Okay, so I'm creating a private static reference variable of type class A, and this reference variable a1 is holding the object of A. Okay, this is the first step. Okay, and next step, I don't want other users to call this constructor, default constructor of this class. Okay, that's the reason I'm defining a default constructor in this class, and I'm giving the scope of this constructor as private. So yeah, so what will happen, like from no other class you can create the object of this class. Okay, that's the reason we have defined a default constructor, and this is the privilege, access privilege, which is nothing but private variable, right? Okay, and next I'm going to create a public method, and this also should be a static method, and the return type of this method should be a class A reference variable. That's the reason I just given the class name here, and this should get me the object of A. Okay, yeah, so this is the method. Okay, and what this should do, this should have a return type, right? Because we have mentioned the return type is of type reference variable of type A. Okay, so we need to return this object. Okay, so these are three steps. First, I'm defining a a1 private static variable of class A. Yeah, this is a reference variable, and in this reference variable I am storing the object of A, and this reference variable is not accessed outside of this class because the scope of this variable is private, and also the class A default constructor we have defined in this class, and we given the access privilege as private. Okay, and now then next step, what we did, we have created a method called get object A. This is a method which will get us the object of this class. Okay, and this method is publicly available. That's the reason the access specifier is public, and this we should be accessing this with the class name, only with the class name, because of the constructor which we have defined in the class is private, so nobody can create the object of A. That's the reason the other guys who are calling this method should call this with the class name. That's the reason we made it as static. Okay, and the return type of this method should be an reference variable of class A. Okay, and what we are returning the same object. Okay, and what will happen when this class loads? So when the class loads, the static variable will get initialized, right? They got created and they got initialized. So this reference variable is static, so this will be created during the class loading, and the object is also created during the class loading. Okay, and this is a shared variable, and this will happen only once After the class loading or during the class loading, okay, this object will be created. Done. And next step, what we're trying to do, like once the class is loaded, we will call this method with the class name, and we'll call this method multiple times, and we'll see how many objects got created, whether multiple objects got created, only the one object is object reference is returned. Okay, we will understand that. So for that I have created another class called runner, and this runner class is under the runner.java. Okay, yeah, this one, yeah, this one. So in this runner class, so in this runner class we have a main method. Okay, so in this main method, what I'm doing, I'll create few reference variable, and I'll try to store, suppose I'm saying x1, and I'm calling the get object method. Okay, similarly I'll call this method multiple times. Suppose this is x3, x2, x4. Yeah, so we created 4 reference variable of type A. What this will look like will this be creating 4 different objects, or only the or only the one object? Okay, we'll execute this and we'll try to see the difference. Okay, let me, there is no output statement. Okay, so I'm just printing the each reference variable, so that the hash code of the object will print it on the console, and with that we'll confirm what is happening. Yeah, see here in the console, this is the hash code of the object when it created it for the first time. So when the object is created, when the A class is loaded, that time this object is created, because it is declared as static, and that is the only time when the object is created. And from the next time onwards, yeah, after that, what you did, like you are just simply calling this method, right? You're calling this method 4 times. What will happen? The same reference will be returned. Whatever the object got created during the class loading, the same reference will be returned 4 times. The same thing is happening. So that's the reason you will receive the same hash code. This is what the singleton pattern is. No matter how many times you will try to create the object, only one object of that class will be created. Okay, the object creation will happen only for once in that class, for that class. Okay, so yeah, so this is how the singleton design pattern is we can implement using the static keyword. Yeah, we'll see the next approach, implementing the singleton design pattern using the static block in our next video. Thank you.